Back to the phone lines. Tim, he's listening in Georgia, Sirius XM 131. Hi, Tim.
Hey, good evening, Hank, and thanks for taking my call.
It is my pleasure.
I travel a lot and listen to your show on XM every evening at 6 when I'm on the road. And a few minutes ago, in the conversation about the second coming, and you quoted the scripture that were referring to no man knows the time, not even the Son. And believing in the Trinity, that Jesus is the Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, help explain how that statement can be true, that even Jesus doesn't know the time of the second coming.
Sure. And the categories that are talked about here are given by Jesus. No one knows about that day or hour, not even the angels, nor the Son, but only the Father. So angels do not know. The Son, speaking from the perspective of his humanity, does not know, but only God knows. That's the point that Jesus Christ is making. Men don't know, angels don't know, only God knows. Jesus Christ, in the incarnation, voluntarily veiled the prerogatives of divinity. And so he could exercise his divine nature, but he chose to voluntarily veil it, and therefore, speaking again as the God-man, the Anthropos, the God-man, as he walked this earth, he's saying, men don't know, only God does.
Okay. Well, that explains it pretty good and puts a different perspective on it. He was speaking as the God-man at that time and not taking himself back to the power that he had the potential to take himself to.
Right, and that's what's typical. Typically, I mean, it's not always the case. I mean, Jesus obviously can speak not only from the perspective of his divinity, he can also speak from the perspective of his humanity or vice versa. But in this particular case, what you have is the normative circumstance where Jesus is speaking from the perspective of his humanity. Remember that Philippians tells us that our attitude ought to be the same as that of Jesus Christ, who being in very nature God, did not consider equality with God something to be grasped, but rather made himself nothing, taking the very nature of a servant, being made in human likeness, being found in the appearance of a man. He humbled himself, became obedient to the death, even the death on a cross. So he set aside the prerogative for independently using his divine attributes.